the next one that we're going to talk about it is to solve a big pain when you have a scalable operations in big companies. Because when you're talking about managing RPA operations, there's a problem about governance. It's a problem about who can access anything, who can check robots, who can start robots. So we are sure that there are different behaviors within companies. Some companies, they just schedule everything and no one touch the robot, but sometimes you need people to get access to the orchestrator and start bots on demand, or the concept of assisted bots, if you prefer. So what we just launched now is a new version about repositories and user groups. So what we mean with that? Before, you just had three roles: administrator, operator, and developer. But now you can have a clear separation within departments. So Hugo is going to show us a little bit about how can you have like a specific process that just for people with access on procurement, for instance, or maybe our finance. So this way is a new layer of governance that you can have in your operations. So Hugo, feel free to show us a little bit about that.
Awesome. Thank you, Lohan. So now, again, on the bottom left side of Maestro, we have the organization part, right? So accessing the organization menu under users and groups, we can now register groups to group our users into the departments or any other business logic that you have that will join your users here. So for instance, we have in this use case, two groups here, the finance and the procurement groups, right? In which we can associate users here and give them the ability to be part of this group. So I can basically select any of the users that we have and add them to the group. So they are going to be now able to see all the information and the repositories also associated with these groups. So groups are meant to join users in a uniform way. Repositories, on the other side, is how we group the entities on the BotCity Maestro. And what do I mean by that? So repositories are a way to group together automations, bots, logs, and credentials. So here I have in repositories, the procurement repository, in which the procurement department is going to store all of its automations, bots, logs, and credentials, right? So we can give permission to groups. So suppose that you have procurement developers, procurement operators. Any way you want to assemble your groups of users, you can bring them in and give them access, right, to the certain group here and enable them to access the entities related to this repository. So if I want to see all the automations associated with the procurement repository, I can click in all automations and filter here now by the repository. So I can see that the supplier homologation automation is associated with this group. So users belonging to this group are only going to be able to see this automation. So whether it's in the new task or any other way, right? So I can even select the logs that are only pertinent to my group. Here I have, of course, an admin access, but users are going to be limited to see the information from the repositories and groups that they belong to. So this allows you to have much more control over access and also all the security of the information that you have in your company.
Yeah, and the really big importance of this is when you're talking about evolving the orchestration towards a governance layer. This is really important because sometimes when we talk about let's orchestrate something, people think about just scheduling or have a task queue to manage. But then, for instance, we have a customer. They in a healthcare, they have 80 people getting access to the orchestrator every single day because the process they want to demand in real time. So for the layer of the governance should be great for that. So people on finance will just see their own robots, people on procurement will see their own bots. And then after they send everything to the BotCity Maestro, Maestro will be responsible to distribute everything and manage the task queue and make the best use of your virtual machines or containers to deploy and run and get all the alerts from their orchestration. So this is what orchestration is about, is really to involve the other stakeholders beyond just deploying bots, but with this big layer of governance.